Monday, March 2nd edition of the Carolina Weather Video. I'm meteorologist Matthew East here along with you. A lot to talk about this week. A lot of temperature swings on the way and a little bit of wintry precip a possibility in a couple spots here and there. We'll get into all that here as the video unfolds. Now, these are 5 a.m. hour visibilities. A lot of fog out there all across the region this morning. Many locations across the Carolinas with visibilities a half mile or less, and for that reason we do have dense fog advisories hoisted really all across really much of the region, all those gray shaded counties. That is where you do have a dense fog advisory in place. Now let me show you a futurecast here flipped into visibility mode, and you'll notice as we get through the morning hours some relatively quick erosion of the fog. I think by late morning most of that fog is gone. And I actually think a pretty decent amount of some afternoon sunshine for some of us today. Now, your temperatures, we're all above freezing. That's good news. With all this fog, that would be kind of a messy deal with freezing fog this morning, but it is not freezing fog. We're in the mid to upper 30s to even mid and upper 40s down in parts of South Carolina. The mountains are in the 40s this morning. So we have a cold front working in. Moisture has pooled ahead of that front, and we've got all this fog and low cloud cover out there, and there's some rain moving from eastern Tennessee into the North Carolina mountains. That will not last too long, and I really don't think any measurable rain is going to make it over the mountains and into the Piedmont or the foothill zones. You're looking at just really a few mountain rain showers this morning. But you notice here, as we get into the afternoon, behind the front, some decent clearing trying to take place, especially across North Carolina. It'll be a little bit more tricky down in South Carolina, but I think a lot of North Carolina sees some pretty good intervals of afternoon sunshine before the clouds then build back in pretty readily overnight. Here's your high temperatures across the region. Look at South Carolina, quite warm, and really still pretty mild across most of North Carolina today too. Now, we get into tomorrow, a much different story. You have an area of high pressure that's going to be centered right here around daybreak tomorrow. Pretty good setup for some cold air damming here across the region, and it's going to be a much colder day overall, with a lot of us kind of hovering in the 30s. Now check this out. Let me show you what it looks like on Futurecast for the precipitation products tomorrow. A little bit of wintry precip is going to be a possibility up here across the northern sections of North Carolina. A little bit of light freezing rain. Maybe, if you can imagine this, a less significant version of what occurred yesterday morning. A little bit of a minor glazing of ice, a possibility on some elevated surfaces. That's what Futurecast is indicating there. This does not look like a big deal at all, but maybe a little bit of freezing rain tomorrow in northern North Carolina. And there you go. It's going to be a much colder day tomorrow with that wedge in place. Now, I mentioned temperature ups and downs. Here comes one of those ups for Wednesday, just ahead of this incoming front. Very mild temperatures. And then we see a pretty good rain opportunity anywhere from late Wednesday through Wednesday night into Thursday morning. And you notice this is one of those deals where you're going to see a little wave of low pressure develop along this front, and some precipitation will try to continue to fall on the cold side of the front as we get into Thursday here across the region. I'll show you that in the detailed modeling in just a second. But look at the warm air Wednesday, maybe 80, at least this particular model indicating 80 in Columbia Wednesday. 70 is a good possibility across portions of North Carolina on Wednesday. But again, then it turns sharply colder again for Thursday. Okay, first of all, on the high resolution modeling here, this is the regional Canadian model, and this just runs out through Tuesday evening. And I wanted to show you that it is indicating that little bit of light freezing rain there that I showed you a little bit earlier in the video. The global Canadian model, this is its representation of our Thursday system. Rain Thursday morning, and then again, you see that little wave of low pressure that tries to throw some wintry precip back in the colder air. On the colder air side of that front. Now it's a little less impressive this particular run on the Canadian. Let me show you the GFS model. Now first of all, this is what it shows for tomorrow morning, where you get the idea there that there could be a little bit of brief wintry mix or some light freezing rain tomorrow. And look at these highs tomorrow. You can clearly see the impact of that wedge here across the southeast. But here we go. Let's get out to Thursday. This is overnight Wednesday night into Thursday morning. And again, this is the 0-Z run of the GFS. There is that wave of low pressure I mentioned forming along the front and then throwing all this wintry precip back in the cold air. We go out to Thursday early afternoon. You can see a lot of North Carolina has seen a very brief shot of some wintry precip. And then we get to Thursday evening, and there it goes off the coast. So there's your precipitation type accumulations from the GFS computer model. A little bit of snow being indicated, a few touches of freezing rain, and some sleet too. And of course some rain with the frontal passage on the warm side of the front. And then let me show you one more thing here. Actually, I guess that's about it. I didn't put the other charts in here, but the bottom line is here. Let me go back right here. Okay, I think certainly Thursday could be a little period of some wintry precip, especially across the North Carolina zones. But at this point, I just don't think it's going to be a huge deal. Temperatures obviously very warm Wednesday ahead of this system, and it's going to be one of those deals where temperatures are kind of falling behind the front as that precipitation continues to get generated. It just doesn't have the feel of an overly significant event, but having said that, can't rule out at least some minor accumulations of sleet or snow somewhere across North Carolina as we get into Thursday. But, something interesting to watch nonetheless. All right, that is it for today's edition of the video. Everybody have a wonderful day, and God bless.